Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Not Mike and Not Pat. I am your host, Not Mike.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Dicks Exposed. I'm your host, not Pat.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Dicks Exposed. I am your episode.
I'm your episode. You got this.
Flufferman, bring us in.
Do it.
I don't know what to do.
We got it right the first one. Yeah.
So I guess if you join into our clusterfuck that was what was supposed to be 90s superhero cartoons,
It was
that went off the haywire.
way off.
And but at one point we did make a mention to what this episode would be and what was going to come out of it, and that is Avatar the Last Airbender, not the stupid Blue Boys.
Oh man, I thought it was a James Cameron movie.
And we're not even going to talk about that movie that doesn't exist.
Oh, that's so bad.
There's multiple movies that don't exist for this.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk about what is probably one of the greatest shows made during our generation.
Avatar the Last Airbender is without a doubt the best cartoon show.
I mean,
Of our generation.
Storyline,
Fantastic.
the character development,
Fantastic.
the history and the research that the creators Brian Chiezzo and Michael DiMartino went through. So everyone's heard this at this point. All the four bending styles are each based on a different form of martial arts.
Right.
Did you know that they actually hired like a 5-time world champion to come into studio and actually do forms so they could motion capture them and redraw everything? Like, this is the level that these creators went to for this art.
The series it's just filled with so like where to begin? You could
Where we can begin? The show that they worked on prior to this. Do you know what it was?
What was that?
Invader Zim.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh man, interesting fact about Invader Zim. When they were casting people for the voice acting, they literally had them come in and just say like, "Scream as loud and for as long as you can."
No shit.
That's literally how they casted people for Invader Zim. They were like, "All right, we need you to scream as loud and as long as you can."
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When this movie or when this show kicked off, they were actually brought in to do like an introduction to Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. And apparently, like, most people come in and they just like pitch their ideas. They're like, all right, it's going to be like this guy, this girl. They go to high school, get into shenanigans, and eventually fall in love. Right. Yada yada yada. 10-minute speech. They did so much research and background that they actually went into Nickelodeon Studio with complete storylines for 3 seasons of Avatar: The Last Airbender, with all of the backup and everything. It was a 3.5-hour pitch. And like at the end of it, they were just like, so that's our idea. And Nickelodeon apparently just went, we're not changing anything. When can we start?
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Like, and it's so crazy to think because like
it's so good.
So you go back to the first episode, just the boy in the iceberg.
Yep.
And the animation's not there. It's very,
it's finding its legs.
It's very two-dimensional.
Yeah.
The mouths don't match the words. Everything's kind of...
The voice acting's not there yet either.
Not quite. But considering you got like 12-year-olds doing it,
right.
Not bad.
Not bad.
But then you do have Mako. I don't remember his last name. Is his last name Mako? Uncle Iroh.
Oh, sorry. I just know his name. I just know Mako.
Yeah. And then you got Dante Basco.
Yeah.
Who is Rufio voicing Prince Zuko. I mean, those are 2 heavy hitters right there.
But everyone else was like teenager children.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The series is so fantastic. Just on character development alone, I feel like if you were to if you were an English major and you wanted to write a paper on like character development, like you could use Zuko alone to write like a master class like paper on character.
You could get like a book series out of Zuko.
Just Zuko alone.
Right. I mean, but like every character,
like every character, even a character that was only in 1 episode. Yeah.
Has an entire lore built behind him now. Like the waterbender who lost his wife to Ko No Face.
Yeah.
And like that was 20 seconds in an episode where Aang was in the spirit world, and that has like fucking years of lore behind it now.
It is fantastic the amount of like depth that the creators went through when like actually making Avatar the Last Airbender. Like I don't did they I wonder almost if they knew that they were going in like knowing that they were making a genre, like a not a genre, a generation defining cartoon. Like Avatar the Last Airbender had such an impact like like to this day, like my nephews who are like 8 and like 7 years old, they go into it and they watch this cartoon and they're like, wow, this is great, you know, because the first episode is all fun and games, and like, yeah, it does end with the Fire Nation invading and the Suki and all that stuff, right? But very much the very first season is very like goofy, fun, running
playing
away
around,
from
yeah,
Zuko and Iroh.
Just transitioned right into more of a young adult TV show.
I'd say like mid season 2 is like when the series was.
No, dude, go back and rewatch it because I was under the same impression. I was like, season 1 is all goofy until you get to basically the water temple, and then things get pretty dark right off the bat because you have General Zhao who literally gets murdered.
Yeah,
you know, in this, spoiler alert. But then like I was just going back and rewatching it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna force myself to rewatch season 1. I'm not like a huge fan of it because it's slow, dude. Like episode 4 starts getting like dark and good because like you got the fortune teller that's in episode 1,
right,
or season 1, you know, with the volcano and all that stuff. Like, you know, that's a completely underrated episode that's amazing.
Oh yeah, your the climactic battle, but you're good and evil and all that stuff. And
right, and
but what about my love life?
Which fun story. Yeah. The prediction in that episode was Katara is going to die peacefully in bed after her fourth grandchild is born, which happens at the very end of Korra. Yeah. Sorry to bring down the vibes, everyone.
Bring them down.
But like, you know, season 1, like halfway through, like you have Jet and the Freedom Fighters, which is a pretty,
such a great episode.
You know, adult theme right then and there.
Jet.
You have the Fire Nation jail in the middle of the city. You know, that's a pretty, you know, advanced topic for kids. Like
all of them, like you were saying, like all those people also have like a resurgence later on. Even the Swamp Benders.
Yeah, the Swamp Benders come back. What's his name? Poe or Joe, or who was the Earthbender kid that was part of the colony that had to go save his dad from the gym?
Oh.
He comes back with the sweet goatee.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Flufferman.
Yeah, look him up.
I want it.
No, yeah,
you got the Boulder who comes back.
The Boulder.
The Boulder. One of the best voice actors out there.
Yeah, like the themes of the series overall are like very very hard hitting for like something like a kid's cartoon. Like literally dealing with war and a war torn world.
Dude, like propaganda is touched on, and like
that guy.
Yeah, his name is Haru.
Haru,
yes.
Haru's beard is amazing.
Joe
Joe the Earthbender, yo.
Joe.
There's a million Lees.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Was it Heidi Ho, my fireman?
Flamio, my good Hotman.
Flamio, my good Hotman. That's it. Where do you like? Again, it's such a grand encompassing series that like we can start from the beginning, but then we'd have to like just talk, like just rifle through and stuff like that. I feel like that would just be boring. Just like go from episode to episode.
Yeah, I think we just need to fucking just go at it and be like, oh, you remember this time? You remember this time? Because let's be honest, watch the show. If you haven't watched
Avatar the Last Airbender, then
you're doing yourself a great disservice. You have 3 seasons of Avatar the Last Airbender, which follows Aang. So quick synopsis. Avatars are basically reincarnations that travel through 4 different nations. You got Water Nation, Fire Nation, Air Nation, Earth Nation, each of which has their own bending, which lets them control that element. The Avatar controls all 4 elements. When that Avatar dies, they are then reincarnated into the next colony, pretty much. So Avatar the Last Airbender obviously follows Aang, who is an airbender, and the last of his kind because fucking the Fire Nation came in and committed genocide
on the Air Nation
tribe and put the rest of the world under their control. And then, so 3 seasons of that follow Aang and his little team of the Boomerang Gang. The Aang Gang.
Yeah.
As they go against Fire Lord Ozai, who is voiced by Mark Hamill.
Yes.
Which is great. And then 100 years later, we see the reincarnation come out in Korra, who is the waterbending avatar.
Is it 100 years later?
Or like 87 years or something like that.
Aang died like in his 30s.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
It was like his 30s.
No, Aang died really.
Aang was an old man.
He was like 50s.
Yeah, like 50s. He was one of the, well, I guess technically oldest, because he was frozen for 100 years.
I thought he died young because of the fact that he was frozen. Like that was like the reason why he died
younger.
Young.
So most like airbenders
like
lived to be like 100.
Right.
But I think he was like 60 or 70 or something like that because he died in the volcano. Didn't he?
He died.
Or is that Roku?
Roku died in the volcano.
Roku died in the volcano.
Yeah. He died from complications. That was why he died. Okay. His body
gave out on him.
Yeah, because he literally was like technically 100 and like even if he died at 30, he was technically 130 years old. Yes, his body had been around for 100 years. Yeah, like all right. So let's just touch on a couple things real quick. Outside of Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you haven't, there's another series, Avatar: The Legend of Korra. All right. I feel like we could touch on that faster than we could touch on Avatar: The Last Airbender. Which we know Avatar Korra takes place after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, so Korra basically exists in the same world as like 1940s America, right. New York.
Welcome here, like the head, like the right. old timer, like
right, the old timey, like
what will Korra do next?
Right.
Yeah.
You got that. You got like mobsters in the streets. You got like blimps flying around, like the Hindenburg and stuff like that.
It had like a steampunk vibe where instead of steam, they were using bending as like a way, like because lightning benders were used to generate electricity. Yeah. Same with like firebenders were burning coal to, move trains and stuff right. like that. Like the whole nation is very bending oriented. And the difference between Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender, Avatar: The Last Airbender had the complexity of like a 100-year-long war that Aang and the gang had to try and stop. Like they literally was you have a nation that has taken over the world and they're entrenched deep.
Yeah, like Aang
pretty much they won.
The world starts off in turmoil. Like
yes.
Aang basically freezes himself when the world is fine. He's just dealing with childhood problems.
Yeah, like
wakes up 100 years later to find out everyone he's ever known and loved has been killed, except for Boomy. And Boomy. All of a sudden, the Fire Nation has like killed everyone else and taken over the world. And they're like, "Oh, by the way, weight of the world on your shoulders. You need to solve this as like the Avatar."
Yeah, because if he didn't run away, it probably could have been avoided. Because I mean, think about it. Like you're dealing with a nation. You're dealing with an army that they're entrenched. They've taken over almost all the entire Earth Kingdom. The Water Nation only exists in the North Pole. And they're
and South.
Yeah, the South Pole
basically only
kind of exists, but
the South has like 30 people.
Yeah, but the North Pole, they're just we're gonna stay out of this because as long as we're up here,
vice versa.
They're not gonna I don't know. They don't go to the north.
It's pretty much the Earthbenders and the Fire Nation at this point. Yeah, so, and the Earthbenders have been completely colonized.
Yeah.
And are under the control of the Fire Nation. Yeah, that's the reason why they are still alive.
There's only one major outpost left, and that was Ba Sing Se.
Ba Sing Se.
So you literally have almost 90% of the world is taken over by the Fire Nation. And Aang is just fuck. And people are pissed off at him rightly because if he had existed, if he didn't run away from his responsibilities, it probably could have been stopped because
let's be honest, he probably would have been killed.
Yeah, but then it would have been he would have been a waterbender, and he would have been either been born in the South Pole or born in the North Pole, and even if he was killed, then he'd been an Earthbender. Right. They would have had to kill him multiple times, and it's been proven even if they killed the Avatar enough times that he eventually was reincarnated as a firebender. Roku was nah, dog, I'm not about this.
Right.
So I think even I feel like that would have been a great series. What if? You know how Marvel has a spin-off series called What If?
What If, yeah.
They should make a comic book series what if the Ozai killed Aang and then killed the following two, and the Avatar was was born again as a firebender under Ozai's rule. Would he have fallen for the propaganda, or would he have listened to his past selves, or would he have killed the firebender? What would that have happened if they killed a firebender
couldn't reincarnate into an airbender.
Right? Like, would that have been it? Would that have been their solution? Just kill the firebender so that
like,
way that ends the Avatar cycle completely.
I guess, unless it would just skip back.
Skip it and go to the waterbender.
Go back to waterbender.
Yeah.
Well, one other thing, did they ever touch on anything like in the deep lore? I know it was the rumor, like twins, triplets, like anything.
That was just a rumor back in the day.
Back when
I think
we were supposed to get a triplet of the
if the
Earthbenders.
creators, they were asked, like, hypothetically, if you were to make another series, like, what would it be? And they were like,
twins.
The Earthbender.
they were like, I
yeah.
think it'd be really cool to have twin avatars, you know, and they would be the
Which
Earthbenders.
could work today in today's setting because of Ravi and Rao, I think. The two, the good, and the evil. They do exist. So now there is an evil airbender.
Unalak or whatever
Yeah.
did have the evil guy in him when he
And
died. So he
could
could be reincarnated.
They could
as,
do a twin version.
Yeah. Which, that'd be fucking dope.
Yeah, it would be dope.
Shit, that could be what happens.
that-
Because I think it's 2025 we're getting the Earthbender.
Yeah.
So
I love that Nintendo, Nickelodeon has finally decided, like, you know what? We fucked up. Like, we just need to, like, funnel all this money into the Avatar. Like, it's like Disney saying, like, you know what? We're just going to take all of our money and put it in the MCU.
yeah.
Like, that's what Nickelodeon's doing. They're like, you know, we have this franchise that people adore and they love, and, like, they're literally, like, mobbing us constantly for more.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to just give them a bunch of money because, like, it's called the Avatar Studios now, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, because, well,
Or the White
they
Lotus
left
Studios or
Nickelodeon
something.
and they were with Netflix for a little bit.
Yes!
And then Netflix shit the bed
Netflix did
the same way that
fucking bed.
Shyamalan did.
Yes.
Like, literally, they're like, oh, your story's great. We're going to change it. It's like, no, it's not what we agreed to.
No.
Which I respect the fuck out of the creators because, like, so I don't know if you knew this, but Avatar actually was doing horribly money-wise, like season 1 and 2.
Right.
Like, on the verge of being canceled.
Yeah, I do know that.
And that's when Shyamalan approached him and was like, hey, my kids watch this. They love it. I would love to make a movie. And Nickelodeon was like, this could be what happens. This could save Avatar pretty much, which it did, but not in the way that you would think it did, because the movie made amazing profits,
It
like
did.
across the world. Like, everyone went and saw this, and it actually had like a huge viewing, like in, I want to say like Germany and China or something like that. Like, it was huge over there, and it actually got to the point where even though it was like a horrible skid mark on what Avatar the Last Airbender cartoon is, it funded season 3. Like, without that movie, we would not have gotten season 3.
Season 2 also had the unfortunate of also being like airing during the massive writer's strike.
The writer's strike, right?
Yeah, because I remember like it was like halfway through, and then eventually like there was just no more episodes coming out.
Which is ironic because people regale season 2 of the original series as like the best season of the 3.
I love season 2 because it introduces my favorite
Because
character.
you get Toph,
Toph,
who's tough.
love her.
Oh my
She
god,
is easily the best, and I love like when she's in Korra too.
yeah,
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 it bugs me out that they don't ever give us Zuko and Korra though.
yeah. They did
Like
vaguely,
very, yeah, like for a second they give us Zuko,
right.
and it's like
And it sucks because they nerfed him.
they nerfed him.
They nerfed the fuck out of him because like he's like an 80-year-old fire lord at this point.
Yeah.
Who's been training with Katara, who's considered the best waterbender.
Yeah.
Well, the only airbenders, and he's under the same tutelage that like Uncle Iroh gave him, where it's like,
Right.
to be the best bender, you need to learn from all 4 nations and incorporate that into your bending. So like Zuko should be like the prime fighter.
I think what makes why Zuko isn't such a prime fighter is the fact that like if you go back to the original series, he wasn't. Like Katara eventually does become like a waterbending master. Paku, I think his name was, comes up to her and is like, "Yeah, you're a waterbending master. Like you're perfect, right?" And Toph, she learned from like the original masters.
Right, she learned from the Earth moles.
Yeah,
or
so
the Badger moles.
Badger moles.
Badger mole.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Badger
you
mole.
gotta add 2 animals.
Yeah.
Because bear? You mean platypus bear? No, it just says
No,
bear.
just a bear.
The Zuko, like he was not like Iroh, the other firebender, that was a part of the White Lotus, and Azula and Ozai were like the masters.
Right.
Zuko was just good.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he was like, you know, like he never was on the level of those 4 when it came like to like firebending skills. Like he was very good. I think like his because he learned different techniques and how to fight differently
Mm-hmm.
because of the four bending styles like Iroh taught him.
Right.
I think that's why he was able to hold his own against geniuses like Azula and Ozai. But realistically, as a firebender, he just was never going to be as good as them.
Right,
And I
right.
think that's part of like his story development.
He is the underdog, kind of.
Yeah, he's like, look, I'm not a master like you, Azula. I don't got the blue fire. I can't shoot lightning. But I've learned these things because
Right. But I can nullify your lightning
Right.
now by using the water bending
Yeah,
that
like,
I learned.
I've been a scrappy fighter this entire time.
Mhm.
I'm not the best fighter. It's like Naruto, right?
Right.
Like Naruto isn't like a prodigy. It's like, like Neji versus Naruto. Like Neji was a genius, Naruto wasn't, and that's what Zuko and Azula were.
Right.
And I think that's why I love Zuko so much.
It's really cool with Zuko too, because they never actually like draw attention to it, but as the series moves on, you see him start to just incorporate the other bending into it.
Yes.
Like the breakdancing fire that he does, that's straight up airbender.
right.
Like the swordsmanship, like you can tell he's taking on some of Sokka's movements when it comes to that, even though he was like the masked spirit or the blue spirit
Right before.
where he dual wielded the swords. He does learn single swordsmanship from Sokka, and then obviously the lightning bending from Katara, and then you have the whole dragon bending, or
Yeah,
the
from the
dragons
dragon, yeah.
that teach them in season 3.
So like I think like that's what makes him again, a masterclass could be written about character development just based off of Zuko's entire story. I love the sequence where he's like he just got back from like his date and he's having that like he breaks out in that hot sweat, that cold sweat, and
Yeah, he has like that internal turmoil.
oh dude, or the scene on the beach where he's on the beach and they're like, what's wrong, Azula? Like, what's wrong, Zuko? Like, tell us what's wrong, Zuko? Like the whole Azula, Tylee,
Yeah, the
May.
like vacation episode.
He's like everything, and you're just like,
yeah,
my boy, dude.
one of the most important beach episodes
Yes,
of any, and I'm gonna call it an anime. I'm gonna call it an anime.
we're gonna say anime probably.
Like every anime has that beach episode.
Yeah,
They had that season 3, beginning of season 3,
a couple episodes in season 3.
season 2. When did
The
Zuko?
Ember, it's called the Ember Island.
Ember
Plan.
Island Players.
Yeah,
I guess it was season 3. Yeah.
it's season 3. Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to think like when did Zuko come over? I thought it
Yep.
was the end of season
Is,
2, but
'cause
no, he rejoins the Fire
betrays,
Nation.
He betrays Iroh at the end of season 2,
Right.
which is.
Yeah.
Bro, oh
my
my
God.
god, that's what I'm saying. Like Zuko's development is just, it's
then-
so beautiful.
And like underrated development too, Sokka.
Oh yeah,
Like Sokka
when
becoming
you're talking about sword fighting, I'm just thinking about like
he was the joke in season 1,
Right.
and he became like a natural born leader by like the end of season 3, which someone pointed this out to
by
me,
the
and I'm
season
just
2,
like,
because they're all relying on his plans in season 3.
right.
They're like, how do we beat Ozai? And like they're all like, just like Sokka, and Sokka's like, gotcha. Bro.
Dude, so someone pointed this out to me and it blew my mind. In season 3, Sokka had a broken leg, saved Toph from flying off a blimp, and defeated 2 comet-powered firebenders
Yeah,
all at the same time with a boomerang.
yeah,
Or with a sword. Like,
because the sword, because he,
yeah, because
the sword never come
space
back.
sword.
Space sword.
Space sword. I got just some quick questions here. We'll play like, who's your favorite?
Okay,
And this is throughout Avatar and Korra.
okay.
Favorite airbender?
I mean, I love Aang, but I gotta give it up to what's his name? Tenzin. Thank you. Blank for a second.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons as Tenzin was a great casting role, but like I love everything. Because like Aang was carefree and spirited. I love Aang, but like the amount of pressure that was on Tenzin's shoulders because of like what Aang put on his
Right.
shoulders.
He needs to recreate a society.
Right. I love Tenzin.
Tenzin
I feel
had
like he
that
gets shit on
moment
too
at the
much.
end of season 1
Yeah.
where all the Equalists are invading the mountain, and Tenzin's like, all right, everyone leave. I'll hold them back.
Right.
And him and Lin stay back, and that's like the first time. I think it was season 1. It was either season 1 or season 3.
You're thinking of season 2, I think, is when
No, it's season 1 because they capture Tenzin and they take away his bending,
right.
or they try to take away his bending.
I need to rewatch Korra. I only watched it one time.
I don't know. This happens sometime in Korra.
There is a fight sequence where he's like just going ham.
Right. It was going, and it might have been against Zahir. I don't know.
I think it was like the Zahirs, like the Black Lotus or whatever they were.
Yeah.
I think it was against them.
But I just remember
Yeah,
that
'cause,
scene when he was like, "Everyone leave, I'll hold him back,"
'cause
and
it was
he fucking fought off like 30 people.
Because it was Zahir. It was Zahir's gang because like they were destroying the temple that they were in.
Yes.
And the Air Nation people were back, and he was protecting the kids who were all like airbenders now.
Yes.
Yeah. That sequence is fantastic. Tenzin,
I just got shivers,
dude.
oh my god.
What I hate, like, what I truly do not like about Korra is like season 1 Korra is like, and season 2 Korra. I don't like season 1 or season 2 Korra. Season 3, not season 2, because season 2 was the evil Avatar.
The Unalaq.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was.
So season 1, she's like anti Tenzin, and Tenzin's like calmly like, I'm trying to help you be an airbender. I'm trying to be a good father figure for you right now.
Right.
I need you to listen. He's not like being like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." But she's like, I get it. She's a teenager. So she's like, I don't want this. I don't want to do this. So she goes off
Right.
and she does her own thing. And that's where she gets mixed up in the whole separatist movement thing.
Right.
And then in season 2, she goes to her uncle because like her father's like blah, and her uncle like the sequence that bothers me the most is when she like goes to her uncle's castle that's in the wood, like in the tundra, and he's sitting in like that castle and it's all dark and like the shadows like over his face, and she's like, I'm gonna listen to you, creepy uncle, not my father. And I'm
Right.
like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And
Like the fact that she
season 3
just
is
kept shitting on Tenzin, who is
Right.
like,
a airbending master.
yeah,
Like, dude, he is an airbending master. You are nothing. Like,
And, like,
girl.
another thing you got to feel bad about for Tenzin is like, the airbenders are supposed to be the most spiritual of the 4 benders,
Right.
And he had no connection whatsoever to the spirit realm.
I felt so bad for
And
him
it's
because
like-
his daughter,
Right. Yeah.
just
And
like-
then what's her name? Janora.
Jinora,
She is just like 6 years old and spirit walking already.
perfectly aligned with it. And he's like, I'm like, man, dude, Tenzin, they did my boy Tenzin dirty like so much that
Right.
series.
And
And
it's
then by
like,
like season 3, he like wasn't even relevant anymore. No, he had that awesome fight sequence.
it's crazy too, because then like
Season 4.
they did something that you wouldn't have expected. They took Aang and they were like, yeah, even though he was your hero, he was a horrible father.
Right.
And it's like, that's not something you see a lot. Like, you don't see like the main character hero just being like demoralized like that,
Right.
and people just being like, no, this isn't what the world, this is what the world thought. But like in reality, like he had 3 kids, and one of them was a waterbender, one of them was a
Airbender.
non-bender,
Yeah.
and he completely just threw them to the wolves and was like, you're not important. I'm going to focus on this
Tenzin.
one child who is
Right.
going to like bring about this new nation.
They did that with everybody. I mean, like, Sokka, what happened to Suki? Like, Toph, like, everything with, like, her daughters and stuff like that.
Right, like,
they're
what's
just
the
like,
story behind
war
that? Like-
makes you a bad parent because you've got PTSD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
everyone-
No, they all definitely had PTSD.
yeah, and like Sokka, I think, died early.
Sokka did die early.
He died in, like, his 40s or 50s. Also, I did find out Aang died at 66.
Okay.
66. Okay.
Right.
So he was
Still
almost
young.
200 years old,
Yeah.
which
Still
I think the
young
only
in
person that
age.
beats him at that point is Kyoshi, who was
Yeah.
like 320 or something. I need to read that book too.
I
the
do need to read
Kyoshi
that book.
We own it.
No, we don't. Oh, we do.
We do.
I forgot we bought that.
I need to sit down, like, Toph I at least get, right? Because, like, I feel like she did that was her, like, that was her style of, like, parenting and, like, teaching in general. Just
Yeah, tough
rough.
love.
Yeah, tough, very tough love.
Tough
And-
love
I think both of her daughters, like, adored her
in their own way.
in their own way.
And I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
they definitely captured like older daughter, younger daughter mentality when it came to Lynn and the other girl.
Lynn is bae. I love her.
Lynn is amazing. Dude, also cried when she lost her powers.
Water dry.
Oh my god.
The meme where like they put Sokka in that sequence where like she's going like that to to Korra as she's walking out, and then like it just you see like someone impose like you see Korra like walk out, and then someone put that sequence where it's like Sokka and he's like water dry.
Dude, they never answer it, but I so hope that Sokka is one of their dads.
Oh, dude,
Like, if Sokka is Lin's dad, I would 100% accept that.
Yeah.
Because I believe the daughters had different dads.
Yeah, I think they
Because
did.
Toph was just like a traveling, free girl. And
I don't think she was a free girl. I think she was like, fuck it. You're hot. Let's do it.
yeah.
She's like, it's Toph, dude. She's like, she is definitely like the definition of like a strong, independent woman
Right.
who does not need a man.
But so Toph ended up in the woods somehow, disowned by both of her daughters. Sokka died early and alone, from my understanding.
Sad.
Which is sad, yeah, because I don't believe him and Suki worked out, and I think him and Ty Lee were at one point shipped.
Yeah.
There's something leading to that, and then him and Toph.
Zuko and break up too.
Mai and Zuko, I believe, broke up. Yeah.
That's sad that the only one that actually like kept their significant other was Aang.
Right.
Like everyone like had this like significant other that was like the perfect mesh for them at the end of Avatar the Last Airbender, but like only Aang kept Korra, Katara.
God, one of like the saddest things too is like I saw this comic of like little baby Korra running up to Katara and being like, "Hey, did you want to celebrate with me? Today's my birthday." And Katara's just like, "I'm sorry, but today is just not a good day for me." Just realizing that Korra's birthday is the day that Aang died.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would make like
Like,
no,
how
I'm
fucking
sorry.
sad is that?
Yeah, like I want to like be like a guiding spirit for you, but like
Today's not the day.
this is not the day. Like I can't like
Like the man I've been married to for the last 40 years. Today's the anniversary of his death, and you
Like,
are literally
like,
him.
actual physical proof that
Right.
Oh man. Oh,
That's a fucking rough one.
That is a
Yeah,
rough
it kind
one.
of hits you, doesn't it?
A little
Like,
bit.
Yeah, it does.
Oh fuck. Wait. We're 30 minutes into this episode, and you're just gonna drop something like that? No, that's not cool. That's not cool. Stop it. We're put this on pause. We're gonna figure this out, and we're gonna come back on a much positive note next week. So make sure to join us for Avatar Part 2.
If you enjoyed that episode, make sure to join us here every Thursday on YouTube and Spotify as we drop new episodes of that good shit.
And don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok for some solid filler content to get you through the week at Not Mike, Not Pat. You should be watching.